Hi everyone, this is Krista with Cocomelli Wellness Collective. Today we're going to do a total body at-home workout. So clearly I am in my own home. You can do this at home, you could do this in the gym, wherever you're at. I'm using my body weight, but feel free to grab any additional load. So whether you grab dumbbells or kettlebells, if you have them around, or you're at the gym, or just some stuff around your house that you might have, whether it's be jugs of water, some detergent, fill a bag with some stuff. So however you want to challenge yourself, you can challenge yourself. Just make sure that you listen to your body and tune into what your body's telling you. How do you feel as you move? Do you have any pain? Do you feel connected to your body? Are you super fatigued? Did you get enough water today? So pay attention to all of those things. We're gonna move total body today. It's gonna be about 30-40 minutes. We're gonna warm up together to start. And as we start moving, I want you to start paying attention to how you feel, how your body feels as it moves, all of the things we just talked about, right? So we're gonna get started, but before we get started, I want you to think about one intention. So one of my really dear friends does this with her yoga practice for her students, is she has them set an intention before they start moving throughout the class. So I love this. I want you to think of one intention for your movement practice today. So it could be that your intention is that you feel love and care for your body. It could be that your intention is some peace. It could be your intention is that you're feeling gratitude. It could be anything. So pick one intention for today. And my intention today is going to be gratitude. I am grateful for my body. I'm grateful for what my body does for me every single day. I'm grateful to be moving today. So my intention is gratitude. You pick your intention, and then we're gonna start moving together. So we'll come down to your hands and your knees, wrist under your shoulders, knees under your hips. We're just gonna move through some cat-cow. So spread those fingertips wide, reach through the ground like you're pushing the ground away from you. Tuck that tailbone and round your spine, look in towards your belly button. So again, keep that reach. Take a deep inhale, see if your rib cage can expand. And then tip that tailbone, look up towards the ceiling. We'll do some cat-cow. Again, keep that reach through the ground, like you're pushing the ground away from you. Just move at your own pace. How does your spine feel as you move? Are you holding a lot of tension anywhere? Are you able to breathe and expand your rib cage? Or is your breath really shallow? Pay attention to those things. So we'll just move at your own pace, moving your spine through some cat-cow. You can go as slow as you want to go. Maybe you want to pause and take some deep breaths in through your nose, let your rib cage expand. Or maybe you want to just flow with your breath. We'll go one more. And then find yourself a neutral spine. So I want you to stick one leg out to the side and plant your foot. We're going to do some adductor rocking. So you're going to feel a little stretch in this inner thigh of the leg that's extended. So again, wrists under your shoulders, knees under your hips is your starting position. One leg is extended. You're going to rock back, butt over your heels, and then you're going to rock forward, shoulders over your wrists. So just move at your own pace and kind of rock forward and back. So warming up those wrists, those ankles, getting a little stretch in that adductor. So if you're someone who sits a lot, you might feel really tight when you extend that leg. This also might feel really good for you. So just move at your own pace. Kind of keep those shoulders away from your ears. Keep reaching through the ground. Maybe you want to pause. Maybe you want to move super slow-mo. Maybe you want to move a little quicker. Whatever feels good for you, just do some rocking. And then we'll bring that leg in. I'm going to turn and face the front, but we'll stick that other leg out to the side so you can kind of see it at a different angle. So rock your butt over your heels, rock your shoulders over your wrist, keeping that reach through the ground. Obviously, the further you lean over your shoulders, the more that's going to be kind of into that wrist extension. So just go in a comfortable, pain-free range of motion for you. We'll do a couple more. And then last one, you can come back to center, and then we're gonna come up into a half kneel. One knee is up, one knee is down. I'll turn to the side. I want you to tuck that back toe under and tuck your hips under. So squeeze your butt. When we're engaging our glutes, it forces this anterior chain to relax. I want hip flexor to relax, into the quad to relax. So squeeze your butt, tuck those hips under, and gently press that hip forward. We're gonna reach forward and just rotate, big rotation over that front leg. And then we'll come back to center. Big rotation the other way. So as I rotate this way, tendency is to want to let this hip to rotate. So I don't want your hips to rotate at all. I want your hips to stay facing forward. So what's rotating is your thoracic spine. So keep those hips locked in, tuck your toe under, squeeze your butt. You can even move, not actually move your heel, but pretend like you were going to drag your heel back towards you of the front leg. You should feel your hamstring kick on, kind of lock in that pelvis. So keep that reach, shoulders away from your ears. You're going to rotate both directions. So just rotate as far as you can. Big sweep, side to side. You might notice that one side feels easier than the other. You might notice that your hips really want to kick in. So hips are stabilizing, spine is rotating. We'll go one more each side. Last one. And then we will switch legs. So other leg up in the front, tuck that back toe under, tuck those hips under. Front leg active, right hamstring on, reach away from you, shoulders away from your ears. Big rotation up and over. Maybe you want to pause and take an inhale. Exhale, rotate a little more. So whatever you want to do, whatever feels good for your body. But hips are staying facing forward, so if my hip bones were headlights, they would stay facing forward. Just move at your own pace. If that shoulder sweep feels too hard, you could always just open up like this. I should have said that before, but always do this. We'll go one more each side. And then last thing, we're going to sit all the way down on the ground on our butts. We're going to make a 90-degree angle, ankle, knee, hip in the front. Same thing in the back. You're going to make a 90-degree angle, ankle, knee, hip, ankle, knee, hip in the back. So I want you to try to square yourself off as much as possible. Think about folding at your hip. So you're lengthening between your head and your tailbone. You're going to fold over that front leg, drive that knee down into the ground. Keep driving this knee down into the ground. You're going to start lifting this back knee up. Hands can come behind you to support you. So I'm leaving this down as long as possible. As soon as that knee comes up, I'm going to keep that distance between my knees and rotate to the other side. So you might need to reset 90-90, fold over that front leg. So really we're just working some internal, external hip rotation, slow and controlled. What I don't want to see is a lot of rounding of your spine. So use your hands to support you to kind of lift out of that pelvis. Move at your own pace. We'll just move internal, external rotation a few more rounds, and then we will get started. So if you are someone who feels like, wow, I need a little extra warm-up, you can repeat what we just did. So you could start back with that cat-cow, go through cat-cow, adductor rocking, come into that half kneel, do those shoulder sweeps and the rotation of your spine, and then come back here and do another round of some 90-90, that internal, external hip rotation. So that's totally up to you. You can hit pause and do this one more round if you need an additional kind of a little more warm-up time. Otherwise, we'll go one more time back, around, and then we will get started with our workout. So if you are grabbing weights, make sure you have them with you, and we will start actually on the ground for our first circuit. All right, so we're gonna be on our hands and knees again. Wrist under your shoulders, knees under your hips. Keep that reach through the ground like you're pushing the ground away from you. Similar to a bird dog, if you've ever done a bird dog. We're gonna move opposite limbs, but instead of them going opposite directions, we're gonna go everything kicks back. So we'll do a quadruped speed skater. Quadruped just means on your hands and knees. So hips stay square, squeeze your butt. I don't want you to lift this super high that your spine kicks in and that you let that spine rotate or tip forward. So keep those hips tucked under, rib cage and pelvis are stacked. Squeeze your butt, squeeze that arm. You're gonna alternate back and forth. So we'll be right here. Move at your own pace. Whichever arm is still on the ground, keep that reach, like you're pushing the ground away from you. 4. Just move at your own pace. 9. We'll do a couple more. And 10 and 10. I think that was 10. So again, keep that reach through the ground like you're pushing the ground away from you. You're going to hover those knees off the ground. You can either just give me this hover hold, create as much tension as you can in your core, or you can give me a row back and forth. Row and reach. This hand is reaching, this hand is rowing. Row and reach. Make sure you're breathing. So what I don't want to see is a lot of rotation. Okay, so reach through the ground, hips and shoulders stay square. Your core is stabilizing you. We'll go one more, and then you can lower on down. We're gonna come back up to that half kneel. So one knee up, one knee down. You can kind of keep this back leg on a swivel. Your arm of the same side as the knee that's up is gonna be overhead. So we're gonna do a half kneeling windmill. So what this is gonna require is you laterally shifting your hips to create some space. That rotation we warmed up of the spine, put that hand down, kind of just in that space you created, right? Keep that line between your arms, drive all the way back up. So you could just be right here. You could load overhead, or you could keep moving laterally with those hips and come all the way down to your elbow and drive back up. So do what you want to do, whether it's just to your hand or it's all the way to your elbow, but shift those hips, rotate that spine, look up at that hand, especially if you have a bell or a weight overhead. You want to be able to control. You have more control over something when you're looking at it, so make sure you're looking up at that weight. And just move at your own pace. Again, you don't have to go to your elbow. You could just go to your hand. We'll do a couple more. And last one, then we're gonna do the other side. Okay, same thing, other side. So knee comes up, same side arm is up. This back foot kind of can be on a swivel. You're gonna load those hips. So shift laterally those hips. That hand's gonna come down into the space you just created. Look up at that hand or that bell and drive all the way back up. So I'm shifting laterally, I'm rotating and driving up. Moving at your own pace. So again, you could come all the way down to your elbow. You don't have to. Load that hip, drive from the ground up. So you got some lateral hip shifts, you got some spine rotation. Just move at your own pace. We're doing about 10 to 12 reps. You don't have to do that many. So I would rather you do less reps, slow and controlled quality reps where you're tuning into your body, than you try to keep up and get 10 to 12 reps in. So just move at your own pace. We'll do a couple more. And then last one. We're gonna come all the way to a stand. So you're gonna hinge, reach towards that opposite foot, load that hip, come all the way up. You can either give me a balance or you can just have your feet together. If that feels too hard, put that back toe down, hinge and reach. So notice I'm loading my hip, butt is going back, keeping that line between my head and my tailbone. So what I don't wanna see is a lot of this. That's going to put stress on your spine, lengthen between your head and your tailbone. This is going to be more stable with this back toe down. This is obviously going to be less stable. This is going to be more stable. Coming to a knee drive and a balance is going to be less stable. So you take your pick. If you have a weight, you're going to hold it in that opposite hand. You're reaching kind of across the midline. So your thoracic spine is rotating just slightly, reaching towards that foot. You can reach as you come up with the opposite hand, or you can just give me here to a stand. So you take your pick. But again, this is your workout, so tune into your body. You'll know when you're ready for a challenge. You'll know what feels good for you. You are the expert when it comes to your own body. So you do what your body is ready for and what it's telling you it needs today. Whether it's here, right, have that toe down, or whether you're going full single leg hinge, loading that hip, drive through that foot, present your hip forward. We'll go a couple more. And then last one, we'll do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to turn facing forward this time. So as I hinge, I'm rotating my spine just slightly towards that leg that's planted. As I drive, I'm driving from the hip complex, presenting that hip forward. I don't care if you fully straighten this leg. So I more want you to think about driving from that hip complex. So my leg is not locked out because I'm not thinking about standing up, right? I'm thinking about driving that hip forward. So load your hip, drive through that hip. Again, this is perfectly fine. Same exact hinge, same exact drive. I'm just more supported. Totally fine. We'll go a couple more. And last one. And then we'll come all the way back down to the ground. Take a second if you need. You can hit pause, grab a drink. Otherwise, we're going to do that one more time through together. So again, we're starting with those quadruped speed skaters. Reach to the ground like you're pushing the ground away from you. And we'll do those kickbacks. Kick, opposite arm, opposite leg back. Rib cage and pelvis are stacked, alternating. Four. If that feels easy and you want to add some rotation, you could move around a little bit with that. Almost. Let's go one more each side. And we will go to that row and reach. So reach to the ground like you're pushing the ground away from you. Rib cages, pelvis are stacked. Keep some tension in your core. Hover those knees. Row one arm, reach the other hand through the ground. You could also just give me this hover hold right here. Last one each side. And then we'll lower on down. Come up into that half nail, we'll windmill. Same side, arm overhead as the knee that's up. Back leg kind of swivels, shift those hips, rotate that spine. So again, you could come to your hand or you could come all the way down to your elbow. Totally up to you. Just move at your own pace. I love a windmill. I do them often, especially love the half kneeling windmill. It's a little more controlled. I love that lateral shift of the hip, rotation of the spine, working your shoulder stability, especially if you're loading overhead. A lot of things working together, which is how we move, right? Your whole body's a unit. Everything works together. We'll go one more, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. All right. Other knee up, same side arm, Back leg's on a swivel. Either come to your hand or come all the way down to your elbow. Now, that feels super easy and you're like, wow, I want an extra challenge. You could come all the way down to your elbow, kick that back leg out and come into a side plank. And then that top leg would plant, bottom knee would drop, you'd come all the way back up. And you might have just looked at me like, wow, you're crazy. I'm never doing that, but never say never. And if you're ready for it, you can go ahead and try it. Otherwise, just stick with that windmill. Do a couple more. And last one. All right, we'll stand all the way up. We're gonna do that hinge and reach. So you're loading that hip, sit your butt back in space, reach that opposite hand towards your foot, come all the way up. You're driving that hip forward. Present that hip forward. You can reach that other arm. You could just have your hands on your hips. Whatever you want to do. Again, this is going to be more stable. This is going to be less stable. Move at your own pace. Couple more. And last one. So I'm equally driving my foot into the ground as I drive that hip forward. We'll go same thing, other side. Almost. Let's go one more. All right, take a drink or take a break, grab a drink if you need. We will start together again with our second circuit. So we're going to be starting standing. So again, if you want to grab some weight, you can grab some weight, but we'll start our second circuit standing. If you want to do that a whole other round, so our first circuit, a whole other round, just hit pause. Do it one more time by yourself. Challenge yourself as you want. And then meet us back here. We will start our second circuit and then we'll do a cool down together. So we're gonna start our second circuit. We're gonna go wide with our legs. So wider than hip width, just a comfortable distance for you. And we're gonna shift laterally to one side and then we'll do the same thing on the other. So shift over to one side, sit your butt backwards in space. If you're just doing body weight, I want you to extend those arms out. Drive through that foot, drive that hip forward, and we'll shift to the other side. So you're just gonna stay wide with your legs. Drive through that foot. So adductor is catching you as you shift over and switch side to side. Glute is driving up. So from the side, shift back. Load those hips. I'm driving that foot down into the ground as I come up. Present that hip forward, switch, and shift to the other side. So if you are holding some weights, you can either just hold them right here. You could hold one up by your chest. You could have one on either shoulder. So however you want to challenge yourself. But if you're body weight like me, you're shifting your hips back and reaching those arms out in front of you. Come back to center, other side. So I want you to start feeling that foot to hip connection if you don't already. Foot drives, glutes driving forward, adductor catches you, control on the way down, drive up, back and forth. Working just a lateral shift, side to side. We'll do a couple more. So this whole time I'm breathing, I'm keeping some tension in my core, my rib cage and pelvis are stacked, right? We'll go last one. And then we're gonna move forward and backward. So again, you could hold a weight, you could have a weight in either hand. You're gonna do a lunge or step forward, and that same leg is gonna come back. So let's move opposite arm, opposite leg. My left leg moves with my right arm. My right arm moves with my left leg. I literally said that exact same thing twice. You know what I mean. Opposite arm, opposite leg. If you want, you could add rotation. Add some rotation of the spine. Otherwise, just stay moving forward, back. That could also be a step and a step. A step and a step, moving opposite limbs. So drive, control back. Drive, control back. Or a full lunge like I was doing before. We'll go same thing, other side. So opposite arm, opposite leg. Obviously, you might be constrained by space. So just kind of move in your own space. Could be just a step, or that could be a lunge. But either way, you got contralateral movement. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Add some rotation if you want. Do a couple more. And last one, forward and back, and then we're gonna come down to your hands and knees again. So we're gonna do some rocking push-ups. Spread those fingertips wide. You're gonna rock your butt back, butt over your heels. As you rock forward, you're gonna push up. Rock back, rock forward. Rock back, rock forward. That could also be that you only go down to right there. I want your whole body moving as a unit. So what I don't want is this to happen. So I want everything moving down with you, even if it's only to right there. So if it's not a full push-up, that's totally fine. We'll do a couple more. And then last one. And then we're gonna come up into a high plank. So again, keep that reach through the ground like you're reaching the ground away from you. We're gonna do some mountain climbers. That could also just be a knee drive with control. Almost. 3, 2, and 1. Sit those hips back in child's pose. Take a few deep breaths. In through your nose. See if you can let that rib cage expand out and back. We will do that again. So if you need a little more rest, just hang out in child's pose. Otherwise, if you're loaded, grab your weights. If not, you're reaching with me. We'll shift side to side. So shift and reach. Arms go forward, hips go back. Drive through that foot. Almost. We'll go one more. And then we'll do our forward and backward lunge. I'm going to start with my left leg this time. So lunge forward, lunge back. It could also just be that step. If you have weights and you want to chop and bring that weight load high, you could. If you want to just hold some weights, You could have one. So however you want to challenge yourself. Otherwise, you're moving opposite arm, opposite leg. Last one. And then other side. So again, this could just be a step. It could be a step instead of a lunge. So what I want you to think about is, even though we're lunging, obviously more quad dominant than our hinge we did earlier, you're still loading that hip and driving from that hip. Yes, quads are working, but if we're super anteriorly loaded and we're only like driving from our quads, that's a large muscle. It attaches over your knee. That tendon's then putting a ton of stress right on your knee. So if you're someone who lunging, you're like, I can't lunge because of my knees, we got to get you more into that back chain and driving from that back chain. And that's going to take a lot of stress off your knees. So if that is you, send me an email. Let's chat. We'll do a couple more. Last one. All right, we'll go back to those rocking push-ups. So rock your butt over your heels, rock your shoulders over your wrists. Give me a push-up. You got 4 more. Again, you don't have to go all the way down, but I want your whole body moving as a unit. Last one, and we got our mountain climbers or our knee drives, and then we'll cool it down. So wrists under your shoulders. Reach through the ground, come up into that high plank. Almost. 3, 2, and 1. Sit those hips back. And child's pose. Take some deep breaths. Slow down your breath. Let your heart rate slow down. Deep inhale through your nose. Let your rib cage expand. Slow and controlled exhale. Tongue relaxes to the roof of your mouth. Jaws relaxed. Just kind of sink into child's pose. We'll cool it down. Take one more breath. And then we're going to sit on our butts. We're going to reach those arms overhead and rotate your spine. Look over that shoulder. Just take a few deep breaths. So as you cool it down, remind yourself of that intention. So mine was gratitude. I feel grateful for my body. I feel grateful for my support system. I feel grateful for the ability to move. I feel grateful for lots of things, but that was my intention. Just remind yourself of yours, your intentions for moving, your movement practice today. I switched. Go to the other side, look over that shoulder, take some deep breaths. We'll take one more breath. And then back to center. You are done for today. Very good job. Thank you for joining me. If you liked this class and you're interested in kind of a more total body program, I'm running a total body strength and mobility program. It's a 4-week program. You get 2 workouts delivered to your inbox every week for those 4 weeks, so 8 total workouts. If you're interested in getting in on that, you can send me an email. Krista at CocomellyWellnessCollective.com, and I will see you next time.